Call a meeting to order. We'll start with the July minutes. You got a copy in front of you. Any questions, changes, comments? Hearing none, we need a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
One second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And the August meetings, we do have a correction on there. Our treasurer is Warren, not William. I'll make a motion to approve that with the change. I've already told Meg about it, so.
I'll second
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
it.
Opposed? Approved. I put the minutes of the annual meeting in there, but those are approved at the annual meeting, so those are just for,
Thank you very much.
to let you see, and if you come up with anything that you think should be changed, you can let me know.
So we're approved next annual meeting.
Right.
That's right, okay.
Those are approved at the annual
Yep,
meeting.
yep.
so
Okay.
It was just for
Mm-hmm.
you to look at, and if you got anything. So we'll go on to treasurer's report.
Okay, that's our last meeting on August 19th till September 18th. The money market account had an income of $13,135. The expenses were $24,254.60. So that leaves us a money market checkbook balance of $133,682.18. Our checking book account, we didn't have any income. The expenses were $2,257.16. That leaves us a balance of $4,737.06.
Any questions on the report? Not, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Approved. We have no old business, unless Dave's got some comments he wants to make here.
No, sir.
Okay, we'll go on to new business. Harvester. We are done for the season. Took out 509 cubic yards, plus the reeds that I picked up since our last storm. But they're seeing one of the chains on the harvester bed had moved over. We're going to be able to take that up to Evergreen Equipment LLC in Hayward, and they'll fix it at no cost to us other than transporting it up there. So,
Who transports that up there? That's
that depends on if I can get my hitch out or if I can borrow a village truck.
it's a long haul.
Yeah.
I told Al the village could accommodate if need be.
Mm-hmm.
We have Chris Schultz's truck. He's got a 250, so it's a heavy duty truck.
Mm-hmm.
We'd get it up there. It'd be the best interest of the village to have it cooperate with it. They wanted, the Lake District wanted to compensate for fuel or whatnot.
I was just gonna ask
Yeah.
that then.
Yeah, well,
So-
Yeah.
I would say we'd pay for any fuel, because if I take it, then it's going to be a compensation too.
Yep, absolutely.
But then,
Is there a date for that delivery, Al?
he would like to have it before we have salt on the road.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah. So soon, huh?
Well,
Yeah.
Chris doesn't want to take the harvester out until we get the dock in, because he
Docked.
wants to make sure
Right.
that we got it set in right.
We're gonna be in Alonzo next week. Chris is on vacation this week, so his plan is to set up for Peter Oak had some concrete work that they want to do adjacent to the pavilion down there before the winter change, or the weather changes also. And I think what his plan was to be in that park pretty much next week, knocking that out and then also sizing up and building out that pier section where
I know Chris had said he wanted me to go along with him when he picked up the poles, so we could pay for the poles.
Sure.
but
Okay.
he hasn't contacted me when he's gonna go pick those up.
I'll make sure that's next week immediately, okay?
Yeah, and
We got a pretty
Warren,
good
Warren
laundry.
gave me a check for it, so I can
Okay,
go along there.
we got a pretty good laundry list of, projects stacking up, so I'll have Chris contact you.
Any other questions or comments on the harvester?
And then the storage shed will be, did we award a contract?
Tomorrow.
Okay,
Okay, so 2:00 tomorrow is the cutoff for the bids. We have one bid in. I have had discussions with 5 other companies on questions relating to the bids, but I haven't received any bids. It cuts off at 2:00, so going into tomorrow night's village board meeting, I will have a bid tab,
okay.
and then we'll have to award it. The one person who did turn in a quote is Chris Schultz, because he also runs a contracting company on the side.
I don't know.
So, but Jeannie Belial's son has also been talking to me, so they could all come tomorrow. That's the unfortunate side of public bid processes, and we could have one or we could have none. They're sealed votes, so I can't even tell you a number. So I know what the material costs are, and I'll tell you this, the co-op from the Black Otter District would be enough to cover the cost of the materials for the entire structure. It would just be a labor cost to the village to get it assembled. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good savings. So I think it'll be a full meal deal to be about $80,000 total, which is fairly economical.
And the harvester will go in there,
Correct.
right? Okay.
Not this winter, Pat.
Oh.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
because-
stay up there all winter.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I'm
He-
sorry.
We get it up there and he's going to store it for the whole winter and bring it back next
Oh.
spring.
Okay, that's, okay,
So
Hey,
thank you.
it's actually a great opportunity.
It's not just that chain on there. He said there are some hydraulic problems with it that he's also going to address.
Okay,
And again, at no cost to us.
okay,
There is one item I would like him to look at as a possibility, because if we can get it parked up next to the dock like that and get it hooked up, want to keep the head out of the water. This year we've been putting it down so it's not flying all over the place. But it needs some kind of shut-off valve on the hydraulics, so it doesn't sink down on its own.
okay.
So I'm gonna ask him about that, so that might be an expense, because that's over and above.
Mm-hmm.
It was something I wanted to discuss with him to see if it was feasible to do. Chris thought it was, but and he was going to look at that. Now it's going to be up there. Might as well Evergreen look at it, because they might have better ideas on how to do it.
Okay. Thanks.
Then we'll move on to the truck, because it was approved at the meeting to look into getting our own truck. And I have talked with Dean Steingraber from the county, and he said they have one truck, but they're looking at their others, like the county board and, or the fair board and all of those, to see if they're interested in it before we would have availability. I know Carl has said we could have the 550, but I don't know when he's going to have a budget to replace it. So, you know, we could end up in the same situation we did this year with, you know, the possibility of a week without having a truck. And the weeds went wild that week.
Do you have a budget cap limit that you're looking to spend? I mean, is there?
What I said at the annual meeting is somewhere between 10,000 to 15,000. I would, from what I've seen online from those trucks, that's about the price for a used one of that size. And we missed out on one we could have got for 2,000.
Yeah, they're out there. You just gotta find them, but you gotta also have the dumping capability on it, and you know.
Well, the ones that I saw were Indiana, Ohio, Massachusetts, New York, and nothing. Yeah, Indiana was the closest. didn't wanna really run that far to
No.
get one.
No.
But, yeah, Dean said that the other parts of the county haven't gotten back to him yet, but he's gonna let me know in about a week or week and a half that whether they got rid of it or not. He said they had a 5-yard one, but I'm thinking that'll be a little bit too high for the elevator. Because that's a standard dump truck, and that'd be higher than what the 550 is. Any other questions or comments on the truck? The other one on here is gift cards. I put this here because it was approved at the annual meeting to provide gift cards for our volunteers of harvesting, and wanted to know from the board if we're going to do that starting this year. And I would think it'd be just a generic gift card that they could use wherever they want.
We never decided on an amount or anything, did we?
No,
Okay.
I think that should be set up as to how much that volunteer was there. You know, like this year, Todd spent 2 days a week just about all summer out there, where Janet was just on Tuesday for a couple hours, and it wasn't every Tuesday. And Todd would get there at 9:30, and it was usually 4 between 4 and 5 o'clock before we got done. That's where the majority of our weeds were taken out, was those 2 days that Todd was there.
Then do we wanna set on a long for like an hourly?
I was just thinking, you know, maybe like for Todd, $100, and maybe 50 or 25 for Janet.
In the past, nobody's received
This would be the
anything
first year
from it.
that this has
Okay.
been done.
Well, that's a pretty good deal for,
You know how hard it is to get volunteers.
Yeah.
I mean, with the lake cleanup and everything else, so,
everywhere, yeah.
yeah, you gotta take care of them, if they're gracious enough to help.
Do you think that's enough? I don't know, what do you think, Warren?
I think if Todd's working full days, 2 days a week, compared to Janice working just 1 day and only a couple hours, I would think Todd should get more than 100. If we're giving Janice 25 or 50.
You know, it's
Maybe-
up to the board.
Maybe 200 and then 50, or?
That'd probably be okay.
I don't know, what
Does
do you
Will-
think, what do you think, Al?
I'm
Or
open to
150
whatever.
and 50, or?
That, whatever the board is, but I don't think it's outrageous to go to 200 and 50.
Like a Visa card, which could be used
Yeah.
anywhere? That's a
That
lot of
would-
time.
So we need a motion and such to.
The operator that, I live on Wilkie Lake, which is in Manitowoc County, so, our operator operates 15 hours a week, he's paid $12 an hour, and he does it for 10 weeks. So essentially, you're into the $2,000.
Gives an idea of what.
Yeah, I mean, and essentially, we couldn't find an operator. The gentleman's retired, so it's a great job for a retiree on the lake. So if it's a volunteer, you know, not looking to get paid, $250, that's a nice gift card. You can do some nice things with that. I mean, that's my input.
Yeah, in the
Especially
past
if not
years they've
expecting it, yeah.
got anything.
Yeah. I mean, if you did $250 and $100, $100. Unfortunately, $25 doesn't buy much for you nowadays anymore.
No,
You know,
no.
if you do a $250 and $100, that'd be a gracious, you know, if they, I don't know, I think that'd be fair. A couple tanks of gas in their car, and, you know, all to eat for somebody nice, and
We have the money. Is that a fair split, do you think, in our comparison?
I would think so.
Get them to come back again next year.
I don't know if Janet will, because they're talking about moving down to Fond du Lac, so that's why Dave couldn't do it this year.
Okay,
Cause he was doing all the prep stuff for moving down to Fond du Lac.
okay.
Apparently they got a place on Lake Winnebago down there.
Oh, I didn't know that, okay. Well, I move that we purchase, 2 Visa gift cards for $250 and $100 to give to Todd and Janet, if people are thinking that's a good amount.
I'd second
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? I will do that and get it to both parties. Next, the cattails. Do we wanna spend the 5,000 that we had for planting to take care of some of the cattails between the parks there? Cause we could also put in for a grant for another 1,000, well, it'll be up 1,000 per unit that, like they're both 2 parks, so you could actually get 1,000 for each park for that work.
And is that writing a grant that has to be submitted, or?
Well, the Lake District can get up, I believe it was 25,000 that we can get, but each property could only get $1,000.
Oh, okay.
So if we got 25,000, we'd have to have 25 different parcels, and that's on a share thing where,
Okay.
I mean, whatever, if the village is doing some work down there, that could count for or we could do some volunteer work, or, like, Matt had said at the meeting there that if we cut down some of the cattails after he sprayed them, that would cut down his cost, but we could also use that as part of our share for the grant.
Okay. Al, where's that grant coming from? Do you know? Is it a DNR, Wisconsin DNR, or is it a?
I believe it is, yes.
Okay, I'll look into it. I would be more than happy to help you like I did with the.
It's a shoreline improvement grant or something similar to that. I may not have the word exactly.
I'll look it up. I'll look for the timelines immediately.
It sounded.
Part of it, we have to have like Matt said, to plant some low shrubs along there.
Yep,
That's part of what the grant has, is for that shoreline planting.
that's fine. Okay.
Do they have some ideas of what kind of shrubs then too? Do they?
It's laid out in there what,
Okay.
the variety, I mean, it's a big variety you can
Right,
get in
something
there.
native though.
Yeah.
But it seemed like that was well worth it to take care of those cattails,
and-
right? From what he said.
If we have Matt put together a plan on what to
Sure.
put in there,
Mhm.
I mean, Matt would know what.
Mhm.
Carl and I had discussed it, and if I can chime in, what we would like to see, and it'll lead into other future meetings, putting attention to, we don't feel that it's a loss, but Alonzo Park has basically lost its visibility to the water. So that being said, having done some restoration work just this fall here in Black Otter and as well as Veterans Park, being the 2 parks that we'd like to see the interest go with the cattail remediation. Therefore, that would allow us to potentially co-op, because what we want to do is we want to co-op 2 fishing piers for spring that we can permanently cast from those two areas, Veterans Park and Black Otter, that we could permanently affix into that area. People are asking for fishing options, and what they're doing is they're fishing, a lot of people are fishing from the kayak launch, which we're basically asking them not to do, because we want to leave it open for accessibility, and now they're fishing down by the boat launch, because it's really the only option. There's not a lot of clear area for fishing because the weeds have kind of taken over the shoreline. The other areas from the dam area, but the current tends to deter the fishing. So in order to keep with the good graces and keep people coming into the village, we're looking at, we think the best interest to do that cattail work would be in Black Otter, and as well as the Veterans Park. So.
And that's what I had mentioned to Matt, in an email last week to him because I talked to Carl about it, and he had said that about black otter. And I said, that was what Carl had told me that you were looking at.
Correct.
As the end of black otter.
We've also discussed, I guess Carl and I, what we're trying to do with these parks for the villagers is keep adding amenities. We'd like to see not only the fishing piers. Black Otter's got a beautiful swing that they put in on the bottom side of it. We'd like to do something like that similar at Veterans Park. And then at the back end of, so adjacent when you drive down the driveway going into Black Otter, swing is just off to the side, the kayak launch. We'd like to actually put another smaller gazebo up towards the watershed for people for basically cover, to put a picnic table under as well. It'd be a little bit smaller than the one coming down the road. So if you know what I'm talking about, that just a simple cover. We want to put, Peter Oak is also working, he's got a $25,000 commitment for park improvements also. So a lot of that work we'd like to get started on in Alonzo this winter, but then in spring be able to drive our pilings in the ground and get some of this work done right away in spring before we get into grass cutting and, you know, your typical summer maintenance. So something we may want to discuss moving forward with doing a co-op with the Black Otter District as well.
Well, what Matt was saying at the meeting, it sounded like it made sense to work on those cattails.
Well, and if they're all
Yeah.
invasive, and
Yep,
Yeah.
it's, they're not good.
that's good to get rid of them.
Mhm. And
Yeah,
then figure
yeah,
out
and
something
then-
for shoreline planting.
Yep.
That's native.
And I'm wondering if these reeds that broke loose and were floating around were an invasive species too.
Hard to say.
You know,
Where is Matt from? Is he from the,
Greenville,
okay.
Lake and Pond Solutions is the name of his business.
And I did hear from Becky. She ended up having to work late that night, but she said she and Cole are still interested in doing projects, helping with projects, so that might be something we could get them involved in too.
Yeah, I was going to ask them if they wanted to take over the volunteer monitoring of the lake. I've had that the last couple of years, and because of the other things I'm doing, it ended up I only made it out once during the summer, and they're scheduled for once a month.
Okay.
And the
And what-
days I've been available, the weather wasn't cooperating.
Okay. What does that involve, the monitoring?
That's just going out in a boat in the deepest part and doing a Siki dish and then collecting some water samples.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be worth asking. I think we should ask them.
The only thing, I see they don't have a boat. I don't know if we should look into getting a small boat for them for that, or
Maybe they have a kayak or something. Do you know?
the only thing I've seen, they do have a canoe.
Okay.
How well that anchors in place so you can stay in a deep spot to do all the water samples, I don't know.
Okay. Do you want me to email them and
Well,
CC you, or do you have their email?
I have all the
Okay.
information.
Okay, awesome.
But as far as the cattails, are we going to commit that 5,000 to Matt for that?
You can make a motion, I mean.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And any other topics for future business or future meetings?
Well, sounds like the village might wanna bring something up.
Emergency? Next door.
The one right next to
Yes,
it.
ma'am.
That's okay.
Yeah, just the future projects that we could possibly co-op with the Lake Association. I think it's, you know, moving forward, we'll just keep working together on projects, you know, if we can be assist on anything with getting weeds out, helping transport, whatever, getting cooperative, you know, obviously it's an amenity to the village as well, so we gotta look at it that way.
Yeah, and with using the truck, I appreciate that, it's just that you end up with a week like this.
Yeah,
that
yep,
There's no truck coming,
yep,
where, as far as the Lake District, we're kinda at the mercy of the village when it comes to using the truck, so.
okay.
Hearing none, we're open for adjournment.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.
Can you tell me when the next meeting